What's up, everybody? Welcome to the season 2 premiere of Reuben's Indian Kitchen. Today, I got a very special guest. I got my man from Soup Noodle Soup, Andrew Cini. Andrew, what's up, man? Thank you so much for being here. What are we going to be making today? There's a lot of stuff going on here.
Thanks for having me. We are going to be doing a yellow curry and butternut squash soup. So mid-Atlantic staple in the butternut squash, and we're going to take a little bit of Southeast Asian flavors and build our soup with that.
Awesome. So what's the first thing we need to get going for this?
So the first thing we need to do is make our curry paste. So I have everything here minus our cilantro stems. And I like to use the stems because we'll use the actual greens later on to garnish the soup. So I'm just going to give them a quick chop.
I preached that a lot last season.
Absolutely.
Using the stems, all of that flavor in the stems.
For sure, for sure. We're going to get a little bit more here, just to get a little bit of leaf in there too. So what I like to do when I build my curry paste is start with all my vegetables. So we have yellow onion here, lemongrass, garlic, and our ginger. And then also we have kaffir lime and dried chili. You can get these fresh, but I like to take them home and dry them out. And then if you do dry them, I just reconstitute them in a little bit of hot water. It's about a quarter cup. It's also going to help when we blend the soup, some extra liquid in there. So,
and already there's a lot of similar ingredients to Indian food right here with ginger, garlic, cilantro, onion.
Yeah.
Kind of the base of a lot of things in Asia right now.
Absolutely. So we're just going to pop this into our food processor real quick.
All right, I can do that part. Onion. I love ginger.
I think the lemongrass ginger garlic mix is like such a...
It needs to be a candle.
It should be a candle.
I don't know why it's not a candle yet.
And then we'll put that in there.
Can you let these soak for how long?
About 10 minutes, just
putting
until
the water
they've
and everything
kinda,
in there?
in the hot water, just until they've kind of loosened up. It'll help break them up. That and the lemongrass tend to kind of give your food
Putting this in there as
processor-
well?
Yep.
All right.
And then I'll start with that. Once that runs a little bit, I'll scrape down the sides, and then I'll add my other ingredients.
All right. You got the rubber spatula right there.
Absolutely.
Always got to get all that stuff right there. Oh.
So then to that, we add a little bit of turmeric, some curry powder, shrimp paste, which is like my secret ingredient, secret weapon. It's got so much like good unctuous flavor and umami. It's like one of my favorite things. And then a little bit of oil as well, just to kind of emulsify it all together.
And you said a nice neutral oil, right?
Yes, I do use like a vegetable or a canola. Yeah, you don't want to use anything harsh like olive oil or anything that brings on too much of an imparting flavor.
All right, I'm gonna get this going.
And then this you gotta kind of let run for a little bit. It takes 3 to 4 minutes to really kind of like let everything mend together and kind of build those flavors. But once you kind of let it get down to a nice pasty consistency, we're gonna pop it in the pot and sear it off and start to perfume it.
We'll start to get this going up high. So I've had your soups multiple times. I have the distinct honor of being your first customer.
Very first customer, yes sir.
It's true. It didn't come with a t-shirt, but I'm gonna make one.
T-shirts are coming, maybe. Maybe t-shirts are coming.
So yeah, talk about that a little bit. You started doing this over the pandemic.
Yeah, so Soup Noodle Soup is a fun pop-up concept that I do in collaboration with some other chefs in the Wilmington area. Kind of settled on soup because it is easily put together. I think it has like a very homey, nostalgic kind of like sentiment to it for people. We were in the pandemic, so I wanted to bring like a sense of comfort to them. It travels well. You can heat it up later. So, and that's what we do is we try to like package it so you can kind of have it whenever and have it anytime. And now we just do a pop-up monthly or bi-weekly as soon as we can and as much as we can and try to have a good time.
And how can the people find out about you? Where can they go for that?
So we put all of our events on Instagram. It's soup_noodle soup. Soup_noodle_soup. We also have a website, soupnoodlesoup.com. You can go there as well, check out pictures, kind of figure out more about us, and then also figure out when our events are.
Nice. Yeah, I've been to a decent amount of them. A couple of them I've missed because of work, but they're always super good, especially the chefs that you collaborate with. We've had a couple of them on the show.
Yeah.
Gerald has been on the show, and he does stuff with you. It's super fun.
He's the man. He's always bringing in some awesome, like really unique flavors.
So what are we looking for?
I think we're good there now. It looks like it's pretty.
All right, you guys can check that out right there. That's kind of the consistency you're going for. All right. There you go, chef.
Awesome.
Here's your rubber spat.
So the next step is to sear the curry paste. And we're going to try to remove as much of this water out of it as possible.
So why are we searing it? What is that going to do?
It does two things. One, again, like I said, it takes the water out, which concentrates the flavor. And then the other thing it does also is help caramelize some of those natural sugars that are in the ingredients of our curry paste. So when you go into the store and get commercial curry paste, they're already cooked down a bit. You should still caramelize them, but it doesn't take quite as long. But with the fresh curry paste, I find it just brings such a more unique flavor.
Yeah, 100%.
So to the curry paste, while it's going, we are also going to add a little bit more of our shrimp paste because I love it so much. If I could steal a spoon from you.
Absolutely.
And a little bit of white miso.
We were also talking about how you have a friend that said they just put it on toast.
Yes. I have a good chef friend. He's very reliable. He wouldn't lie to me. And that's his favorite little snack is just a little bit of shrimp paste on toast. So.
It is funny, like all our cultures have like that weird little snack that we like to eat.
Yeah, absolutely. I think like we think peanut butter as the go-to here, but then, there's Marmite and, obviously everyone has their own kind of spread. We're just going to let that get kind of hot. And
start cooking out that water.
Absolutely.
All right, so should we start working on our butternut squash over there?
Absolutely.
So you have some squash over there. Now your recipe has two different kind of preparations on this.
Yeah, so what I like to do is I like to take the top of the squash and cut it into some really nice dices. The bottom of the squash gets a little wonky. It has the seeds in it. It's a little harder to get like a nice presentation piece out of. So what I'll do is I'll actually throw the bottom of the squash into the soup itself, and then we'll puree that later.
Oh man, yeah, I always hated cutting butternut squash because it's not very sturdy. I always cut it down the middle first.
Yeah, it's not always the easiest to try to get some knife work in on, but I remember distinctly working at Buckley's and we had a butternut squash dish on. I don't even remember what it was, and they had to be kind of perfect little dices. And I just could never get the bottoms, and we didn't do anything else with them. So I would just store the bottoms in the bottom of the cardboard box that the squash came in, hoping that Chef Tom wouldn't see all the scraps. And I'll also take these kind of like anything that I take off the top that I don't dice up, I'll throw that into the soup as well.
Word. All right, this is starting to kind of cook a little bit, starting to stick to the bottom. Is that kind of what you're looking for?
Absolutely. You want to see some of that brown on the bottom of it. It's okay. It won't burn or scorch. It's a little bit more forgiving than you'd think.
Awesome. Look at that beautiful large dice. It's like you've done this before.
Trying my best. I take a little bit more time and care when it's actually for the customers, I promise.
Oh yeah, when we eat at home, we don't really care. We'll just throw it all into a blender. Nice.
So once that's started, I will add the rest of my liquid ingredients to that. We have one more solid ingredient, which is palm sugar. It comes in small rounds. You can shave it down like we did today, or you can melt it in the microwave, and it kind of becomes this like molten goo.
It's kind of interesting because when I was tasting it, it kind of reminded me of jaggery. So we used kind of a refined sugar, like an unrefined sugar like that last season to make the ice cream with Chad. And it kind of gave me that same kind of feeling. It's super sweet, but I don't know, it has like a creamy quality to it too. It's really good.
Yeah, there's like a thicker viscosity to it, I think. It definitely has a really unique profile from just regular granulated sugar, which you can use in its place, but again, I think this brings another kind of level of nuance to it.
Yeah. So your first soup was just kind of like a chicken pho, right? If I can remember correctly?
Yes, it was like a chicken stock-based soup with rice noodles, bean sprouts, cilantro, the whole nine. And I picked that one up from my time working in Philadelphia at Stock. Chef by the name of Tyler Aiken. I had 2 Vietnamese-inspired cafes. One of our most popular dishes was a chicken pho. I've made so much of that broth, and so I kind of
It smells so good.
brought it back, and that's where we started, and then kind of grew from there.
What's your go-to dish? Because I think my favorite that you've made is the crab curry.
Everyone likes the crab curry. I think my favorite is actually a similar rendition to this, which instead of adding the butternut, we do it as a noodle soup with yellow egg noodles, and there are some pickled vegetables that are involved. It's a little bit thinner because we'll add a little bit more liquid to it than we will today. But this is kind of the base of it. So, and
I don't know if you guys can see, but that's how much this has changed color already from that bright yellow to kind of cooking some of that stuff down. It's starting to darken a little bit. It's kind of what we're looking for. It's just to kind of cook all that stuff out, get that raw flavor out of there.
So I'm going to add the coconut here now. What I like to do with my coconut milk is when I first pop it off the can, I don't want to shake it up. I like to try to scrape as much of that fat off at the top as possible, like that nice creamy stuff. And then I'll save the liquid, and we'll add the fattier, thicker things first and kind of like help deglaze and really incorporate that into the paste.
Coconut milk has a lot of sugar too, so I'm sure that's going to caramelize in here.
Try to get as much of that in there as possible.
All right.
And then we'll just add the rest of our seasonings before we add our actual liquid. So I have thin soy sauce here, which I like to use. And I'll add about a tablespoon of this.
And so why thin soy sauce? You said it just adds a different...
Yeah, I think there's like a different complexity to it. I think it blends really well with the fish sauce, which is also super important for this one. It kind of brings a Thai or a Laos influence to the dish. And I love fish sauce. So you have the shrimp paste, the fish sauce, the miso, and the soy sauce all kind of like working together to really, really push the funk on this.
I don't think I've ever met a chef that doesn't like fish sauce.
Yeah, no, I don't like getting it all over my clothes. I've had that happen, but eating I love. So
while this is cooking, what can I do for you, chef?
I mean, we're set. We're just gonna finish building the soup. And we're gonna pop our butternut squash in the oven.
So I do want to kind of make another component for this. So we're gonna add, I always like to have something to dip into my soup. I don't know about you.
Absolutely.
But I was gonna
have something to dip.
Yeah, so I'm gonna make a quick kind of masala inspired French toast. I'm gonna use some of the spices that are in my tiffin here that my mom got me. With all these pretty spices, like my painter's palette. So in here, I'm gonna crack a couple of eggs. Juice that up. I'm gonna throw a little bit of garam masala in here, a little bit of chili powder, and a little bit of cumin and coriander. that up. Then I'm gonna add a little bit of lime juice, and I'm gonna use your knife here real quick. So a little bit of lime, because I think acid makes everything better. And for my bread, you can use whatever bread you guys fancy. You guys want to use French, you guys want to use brioche, you guys can use brioche. You guys want to use Texas toast, you guys can use Texas toast. I have this seeded semolina because I just love sesame seeds. And I just like the way it looks. It has a little bit more surface area, so we can get a nice even browning on that. Now you can save those seeds, right?
Absolutely. So what I've done is I've removed the seeds, and I will rinse them and pick the rest of this squash out, lay them out, let them dry for a little bit, and then you can roast them in the oven, and it's a really great garnish for the soup itself.
So you put all of the rest of the coconut milk in here.
I
and
did.
Your chicken stock.
Plus I added 2 quarts of chicken stock. You can use chicken stock. You can use vegetable stock. You can really just use water. I'll like to kind of save scraps from all of these different things that I make and make a vegetable stock and just keep it in the freezer. And that way there, next time I go to make a soup, there's something I can fortify it with. And then I'm also going to start to add all my butternut squash into the soup.
And you want to bring it up to a boil?
I do. I want to bring it up to like a nice strong simmer. That's going to kickstart cooking our butternut squash. We want to get that completely cooked through and nice and soft and tender so that we can puree this later.
So now how long is this going to simmer on our...
I like to let a batch this size go about an hour to an hour and a half. I think it takes that long for the starches, for the butternut to come out and really marry all those flavors together.
I mean, I think soups, they always taste better the next day.
Always better the next day.
Always better the next day. So we actually have a batch that has already been kind of simmering over here for a little bit. We're going to use our trusty ghee for this pan to cook our French toast and our masala toast. Whew. And so you also have a couple of different garnishes that we're going to put in this soup. You're going to show us how to make this soup look super pretty. And
I'm going to do my best.
Oh, I say, hey, we eat with our eyes first.
We are. We're going to garnish this soup with a little bit of fresh cilantro, the leaves that we saved from our stems earlier. We're going to cut down some scallion and garnish with those. We'll have some of the pumpkin or the squash seeds rather ready to go.
And what'd you roast the seeds with?
Just a little bit of oil and salt. Nothing crazy. I think they bring a really just natural, great flavor profile.
Nice. I always like using the seeds too. I'll put that over here.
Anytime I can use every part of the vegetable or as much of the vegetable, I try to do so and incorporate that into the dish somehow.
That's a common theme we've seen here today, that we're kind of using, he's using the rest of the scraps to make his stock. We're using the stems of the cilantro. Like, nothing here is really going to waste.
No, it's the best way to cook, I think. And if I could just get a bowl.
All right, I got you on that. Here's your bowl. So you've also been super nice to me as far as he's been my taste tester for a couple of different Indian dishes that I've been just trying to pawn off on my chef friends to get their opinion on, because it's something that I grew up with. But one thing about this show that I'm really trying to bring this season is a lot more authenticity and a lot more dishes that you may not see, right? Everybody knows about butter chicken. Everybody knows about some like naan bread, but not everybody knows about some of these other different options out there. Like this curry paste, like change a few things, you could 100% make this like an Indian style curry paste. Like throw some some cardamom in there, some pepper. I mean, it's a really versatile little curry paste. I mean, what else would you do with this curry paste?
Yeah, absolutely.
You could roast some vegetables with it, probably.
We could definitely do some vegetables. I think the squash really does lend itself like so naturally. I love doing this curry paste with chicken, just really simply. There are some other ingredients you can add, and you can kind of turn it into more of a Malaysian, or you can go like red curry or green curry with it, depending on like what you take out and what you substitute in. But the basis of it, the base flavors, super versatile. Kind of go with a myriad of different cuisines, whether it's Indian, Thai, Vietnamese.
I'm just gonna dip this guy in our little batter. And our ghee. And you guys can actually make this ghee at home. You don't have to buy it like I do. It's just clarified butter. It just takes a little bit longer. And you have to brown that butter. A lot of my friends make fun of me because I use brown butter in everything. But I mean, it just tastes so good.
I just did brown butter cupcakes for my 7-year-old's birthday party. They were a hit.
Hey.
So even small children like the brown butter. Extra little nutty note.
All right, so we have that going. We can put our butternut squash in the oven.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll get you a pan. Oh, you know what? You can use this one. Set some of the bread on it.
So I like to roast these on a high heat, like 400, 425, somewhere like that. And you just kind of want to go until you get a little bit of color on the corners.
About like 10 minutes?
Yeah, about 10. Bite into one. Make sure it's not al dente at all. No one likes an al dente squash.
So this is going to be coming up to a boil here soon. I'm going to cover that, and we can switch over to our other pot we have. Talk about these bird's eye chilies.
These are one of my favorite. So you can buy them fresh at the grocery store, or if you find like an H Mart or something along those lines. They always come in 1 pound or bigger packs, and they'll go bad on you kind of relatively quickly. So what I like to do is hang them and dry them. And then just like we did today, you just reconstitute them a little bit if you want, or you can break them up and substitute them for chili flake or crushed red pepper. They're great. They have a little bit more of a fruity note than like the stale crushed red pepper that you get in like the shaker bottle. So it's a nice little fresh alternative. And the kaffir lime goes so well with it.
Oh man, we were just sniffing this before.
Yeah.
You would have thought we were crazy.
We were huffing kaffir lime.
Everyone was out of here, and we were just smelling these because I don't know how to describe the smell.
It's super unique. I actually like to also pulverize it. It's great.
I swear we're not getting high on this. Like it may look like it, but it's so addictive to smell that thing over and over again.
One of the best kind of profiles you can have going in your apartment when it's cold winter day and you got some hot soup on and
I think that's why the soup thing was so good too, right? It's just homey.
Exactly, yeah, and I think that was kind of what we were going for when I first started. And I've just been really fortunate to have some great guys jump on board and continue it. And so now it's an opportunity to let people in Wilmington do something different than the normal.
Great point. I mean, so we were talking about, I was hanging out with Gerald Allen the other day. We were just kind of talking about the Wilmington food culture and how far it's come in just 5 years, 6 years.
Yeah.
And like how great it's starting to look over here. And like concepts like this, I don't think would have really passed a few years ago.
Right.
And now like people are so much more open to it, and I think they want to be more creative and want to try different food. Like even doing like the Indian stuff, I think I've seen more people comment on my Indian food in the last like couple of years than I have like my other food that I've done at like other restaurants over the years.
Yeah, for sure. I think the scene's coming around, and it's always had some really great chefs, and always had some really great restaurants. But I think like right now we just have a cool little vibe going on, and I like to be a part of it and like to keep it fresh. So
Yeah, and like you've been a big part of it. You and Gerald especially, I think, have really brought something to the area as far as, you know, pushing it and like allowing people to be creative. We had Nick on last season,
Yep,
and we were
Nick's
talking.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we were talking about how you were like the first person to kind of post about it, and it's just bringing this kind of culture of positivity, I think, is what we've done in the last couple of years.
Well, Nick's pizzas are so good; it's hard to not support them. They are really that great.
I'm gonna finish this off in our oven. Yeah, we do have some that are already done. All right, so let's check the soup out.
So after it's cooked for about an hour to an hour and a half and your butternut squash is really nice and tender, we're just gonna puree a little bit of it in the blender.
I got our trusty little stick blender here. There you go.
And I mean, it kind of does the work for you. There's nothing super technical about this part. You just want to make sure you get it smooth all the way through. That butternut squash is definitely going to help thicken the soup up a little bit.
You guys can kind of see how smooth this is. Let me get a better view for you. It's super smooth. I'm gonna give it a little taste. Oh my goodness. That is so good. There's so much depth there. Now we just gotta make it look good. I think we can do that.
So I also brought a little in my tool belt of things, some pickled mustard seeds, which again, with the noodle dish that we do, it's inspired by a Thai soup that is usually done with chicken, some crispy noodles, and then some pickled mustards. So this is a little bit of cane vinegar, a little bit of rice wine vinegar, a little bit more of that palm sugar.
That's good.
And some water. Oh, it's one of my favorite things.
I could just eat a bowl of that.
And that's going to bring like a nice acidity and sour note to the soup, kind of cut through all that richness so that you can keep eating it. You don't get tired of it. It kind of is like a nice little pop in your mouth every few bites.
Yeah, we talk about balance in dishes. So you were saying this soup is really good, but you have to have acid in it. And like that's going to bring just that pop. You got the texture from the seeds over there.
We're going to add some lime juice too, just to kind of reinforce that, even the vinegar and the mustard. Just some fresh lime kind of as a floater on top. Goes a long way.
So how are we going to put this together?
So I would say let's start with grabbing our roasted butternut squash out of the oven. And if you have any extra curry paste from when you make the paste, I highly suggest tossing your butternut squash in the curry paste itself. If you don't have any, that's fine. You're gonna grab plenty of flavor from the soup itself, but kind of like an added little bonus there.
Here you go.
So we'll just do like a nice little portion here, sitting on the bottom.
So let's do this. Let's go right here. You have all your other stuff here.
And then we'll throw our mustard greens in as well. And if I could bother you for a ladle, that'd be perfect. Does that work for me?
Yeah. Then I am gonna get our toast. Just gonna use your knife here. Always gotta have a little dipper, in my opinion. 1, 2. And look how pretty that is.
Got a little bit running down the side on me, but
Hey, this is just for us, man. I don't care how messy it looks.
Just a nice little floater of the lime juice, like I said, and then we'll finish off with the toasted pumpkin seed, like you said, for some texture.
That is it. And there's only one thing left to do. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, this would be good in summer.
Well, now you gotta dip it though.
Now we gotta do a little dip.
You gotta get a little dip in there.
Hey, you wanna get in here with one of these?
Should we do a little crossover?
I think we should do a little cheers and then a little dink it and then. And this was delicious. Super easy. Way easier than this recipe is gonna look to you. It's gonna look like a lot of stuff, but it's really just putting everything in a food processor. Thank you so much for coming on, Andrew.
Absolutely, thanks for
Follow
having me.
him on Instagram. We're gonna have the Instagram page right below us, Soup Noodle Soup. Thank you, man, for coming on. I hope you guys try this recipe. It's so good. You gotta try it. You gotta try it.
Thanks.